Time to take you through the grid of the 12th and final heat. Well, I was just about to do that until somebody went off circuit trying to catch the number. That was the 285 of Lieke van Berkel. Well, here's your starting grid for heat 12 out of 12. It's heat 3, Judy Rotax, and here's your grid. Thomas Verheyen and Noah Janssen will start on the front row with Verheyen on pole position. Bram van der Weken and Ryan Bourguignon will round out row 2, with Lieke van Berkel and Alexander van Meeuwen rounding out the top 3 rows. Boris Maximov and Lucas Sells round out row 4, with Jim Bach and Cameron Nelson completing the top 10. The 242 of Belgium's Lars Lambers, the number 203 of Filip Wisniewski from the Netherlands. Max Siderski also representing the Netherlands in the 297. João Pereira representing Portugal. Jake Woods from the United Kingdom in the 205. Tom Reger from Germany in the 206. Isaac Barker in the 253 from the UK. And last but by certainly no means least, the Flying Finn, the 259 of Enzo Riccio rounds out the grid. As the sun beats down here at Karting Genk, we exit out of the final corner. Revs rise, lights are on. Lights are out first time, and it's the run down to the first couple of corners. And it's going to be Noah Janssen that springs to the outside of Thomas Verheyen, but then loses out by going a little bit too deep. We've had one up in the air, we've had one spin around, and everyone has managed to get pointing back into the right direction. So the yellow flag at Marshall Post 1 quickly being retracted. Some drivers deciding to take a wide line into turn 6, others opting to use the inside curbing, which not only helps to stop the kart and rotate it, but it does sometimes invariably lose you a little bit of momentum. It is the 282 of Thomas Verheyen leading the way ahead of Noah Janssen. Third, it's going to be Bram van der Weken. It's more than like, yeah, it's actually Ryan Bourguignon, it looks like. So we are going to complete the opening lap. So who is leading the way? Thomas Verheyen, Noah Janssen, Ryan Bourguignon, Alexander van Meeuwen, Max Siderski, Bram van der Weken. As van der Weken has just lost it. He's done a 180 as Lucas Sells dive-bombed up the inside. And I think it might have just been the case that Bram van der Weken hit the brakes. It locks up the rear axle, spun him around and into the mud. And you can see by the body language of van der Weken, clearly not at all happy. But sometimes that does happen as part and parcel of racing. So Thomas Verheyen leading by about 0.6 of a second. Noah Janssen doing his absolute utmost to keep Ryan Bourguignon at bay through turn 8. And, Janssen goes very, very wide, and that opens the door for Alexander Van Meeuwen ever so briefly. Van Meeuwen unable to take the opportunity. I thought there was, I was thinking there might have been something a little bit different about the chassis. Mistake. Well, Bourguignon went a bit deep into turn 11, and that nearly opened the both barn doors there for Noah Janssen and also Alexander Van Meeuwen. Max Swiderski, in the meantime, is closed on in, and with 4.5 minutes still to go, plus an additional lap, there's every opportunity that Swiderski could catch the 3 in front. There's still quite a few plumes of spray being kicked up from the tarmac as the Mojo wet weather tyres do their job of clearing any surface water in order to bite down into the tarmac. It looks like Van der Weyken, not too sure. I haven't seen him come through and cross the line. Might not be taking any further participation. It's a real shame for Van der Weyken, who was at the sharp end of the grid, but obviously with what happened, you know, if you hit the brake a little bit too hard in wet weather conditions, even in dry weather conditions, the same thing can still happen. But in wet weather conditions, the back axle is very prone to the brake pad on the disc, very much deciding it's going to lock up, and then the first thing the back axle will do is pirouette and make it become the front axle. So Thomas Verheyen looking for possibly his second win in a row. And if that's the case, then that could possibly put him on the front row, and more importantly, on pole position. Van der Weyken, I'm afraid to say, is out after that moment through in towards turn 2 on lap 1, and the karts has been left alone, and Van der Weyken is on Marshall post number 3 on the inside of turn number 4, and is going to have to wait for everything to conclude before the pickup operation can happen, and then he can be taken back to Parc Fermé. But with 2 minutes and 23 seconds, it's just about getting to this point, because let me tell you this. Tomorrow, when we go to the superheats, the intensity will go up another level. The adrenaline spike will be crazy, and depending on the weather, could also bring in another dynamic like we've had all the way through today. And what's happening now? A lot more clear sky up above, sunshine bathing pretty much the entirety of the circuit. So Thomas Verheyen is not only leading by nearly 2.5 seconds, he's also got the fastest lap in the pocket. 1 minute 13.899, and that was on lap 2. We're on lap 5 at the moment, as everyone else just trying to get through turn 7 and through into 8. So 17 drivers out of the 18 still circulating. So Bram van der Weyken, the only retiree, getting a bit close there between Alexander Van Meeuwen and Noah Janssen. Now this is for third place. If they continue to battle quite a bit in the next minute or so, you can bet that Max Swiderski is going to be right there with them. He's not that far behind. He's about 4 to 6 kart lengths behind Van Meeuwen and is currently running P5. Swiderski started on the inside of row number 7 in 13th place and has made up 8 spots in the meantime. We are pretty much on to what I would consider the penultimate lap, not just of this race, but also of heat stay here for the 2024 BNL Karting Series kickoff. And Ryan Bourguignon has started to close that gap. He was 4/10 quicker than Verheyen on the previous lap. So 1:14.021 for Bourguignon. Verheyen exactly 4/10 slower. 1:14 4-2-1. But Verheyen has enough time in his back pocket to allow for Bourguignon to close. Timer has run out. We have hit 0. Next time around, it will be the last lap of heat stay. And then everyone can have some respite, and reflect on what might have been a very good day in the office, or a day in the office that you need to analyse and pick apart with a fine-tooth comb. Last lap board of the day is out. Verheyen crosses the line and goes on to the 7th and final lap. And his gap, well, he's expanded that gap. He's just put in a 1:14.2 flat. Bourguignon, 1:14.911. As, oh, dearie me, that is not what Alexander Van Meeuwen wanted to do on the final lap of the race. And he effectively smacks the front left of his race helmet as if to say, you absolute dimwit, why did I do that? So that has cost him 4th place. And now that has put him behind Lucas Sells in the 2:35 entry. So that now means that Max Siderski promoted to 4th. However, if you haven't concentrated that much on the leader, he's been doing a pretty good job. Well, Thomas Verheyen in the number 282 comes through turn 10. Nice and neatly does it. Slightly squeeze on the throttle. Hit the curbing on the inside of turn number 11. So no driver so far this weekend has done a clean sweep. But Thomas Verheyen will join Paul Fauquemin, Christophe Capitain as one of 3 drivers that have just won 2 heats. Verheyen does it again. First heat 2, now heat 3. Ryan Bourguignon takes 2nd. Noah Janssen 3rd. Max Siderski picks up a very, very credible P4 ahead of Boris Maximov. Lars Lambers, Alexander Van Meeuwen, Lucas Els, Lieke van Berkel, and Heat 1 winner Cameron Nelson rounds out the top 10. Jake Woods finishes 11th ahead of João Maria Pereira, Isaac Barker, Jim Back, Enzo Riccio, Tom Reger, Philip Wisniewski, and unfortunately on lap 2, the very first couple of corners, we lost the 290 of Bran van der Weken from Belgium.